Bullseye every time.
Hey everyone, Tim the Dart Man. Today what we're going to do is we're going to explain common dart terms for those of us who may not quite understand all those terms. So if you're watching a dart tournament and you hear someone mention something like game shot, what does that actually mean? Marker, what is a marker? I'm going to explain some of these common terms so that some of us that are just beginning in the game can understand what it is that they're actually talking about. So Tim the Dart Man, if you like this, please do like and subscribe. What are the different areas of the dartboard? Why is there a line over here and a line in here and then here and here? Well, it's pretty simple, okay? These rings here, this space and this space here, is all worth whatever you hit on that particular number. So that's a 10, that's a 10. That's a 15, that's a 15. This ring on the outside is the double ring. Anything you hit in here is worth double that number. That's a 20, that's a 12, that's a 26. So that's the double ring. The triple ring is on the inside, right? And it's a little smaller in size, so it's worth triple the points. So that is a triple 15 or 45. That is a triple 10 or 30. That is a triple 20 or 60. So that's the highest number that you can hit on a dartboard. And then you have the 25 ring, worth 25, and then the bullseye, which is worth 50 and also counts as a double. SIDO, single in, double out. So what that means is when you're playing a game, those are the rules for that particular leg, right? Single in, double out means you hit any number on the board, can be a double too, doesn't matter. And that starts your scoring down. Double out means you gotta hit something in the double ring around the outside of the board or the bullseye to get your number up. So let's say you have 50 to go out, you could go bullseye to get the 50 and you doubled out, or you could go 18, doubled 16, right, which would be 18 and 32 is 50 to go out. And again, any combination, as long as you get on that particular trip to the hockey, 50 points. So single in, double out means any number to start the game, but you gotta double out and get your exact number that you had left when you made that trip to the hockey. Single in, double out. Double in, double out, D-I-D-O. So you may have seen that written somewhere, D-I-D-O, means double in, double out. Well, what does that mean? That means in order for the game to start, you have to hit a double. So you have to be in this outer ring with a dart or on the bullseye, because the bullseye acts as a double. So to double in, you have to hit a double before the game actually starts, before you start counting down on your score. So if you have a score, you're playing a game of 501 and you want to start going down, you have to hit a double first. Any dart you throw before you hit the double just plain doesn't count. It's no score. So double in, double out means in order to go in, you got to hit a double. And in order to go out, you have to hit a double. Now, bullseye. So what's the bullseye? Well, it's the center of the dartboard, the red area. And that number is worth 50 points and counts as a double. Well, what about the green? Is that a bullseye? That depends on what you're playing. Typically, on a game of 501, 301, that number is simply a 25. That's the 25 ring, that green area around the bullseye. It's not a single bull, it's a 25 ring. Now, if you're playing cricket, that counts as a single bull. So in cricket, you would count that as one of your bowls. You need to get 3, right, to get that number. So that would count as 1, and the double would obviously count as a double. So in the game of cricket, it is a single bull. In the game of 501, it's simply the 25 ring. Game shot. game shot, what does that mean? That means that was the shot that won us the game. So we needed 32, we got the double 16, and we won the game. Now, oh, wait a minute, what about these? There's 2 in the 10. It's an extra 20. Did we bust? No. Once the referee calls game shot, anything that happens after that really doesn't count. In fact, if the referee calls game shot, and there was a little light dart in there, even though it was in, if before the person gets to the board and pulls this out, it falls out, it's still game shot because the referee called it. So once the referee calls game shot, that leg is over, game on for the next leg. That was a deflection. So what's a deflection? A deflection is simply when a dart that is thrown hits another dart that's in the board and misdirects it to another place on the board. Now, it could also deflect and bounce on the floor, right? So a deflection is simply when the dart hits another dart and goes to an area where it wasn't intended to actually hit. Now, could it deflect off and still go into the target area? Sure. But typically, if it deflects, it's not going the way you wanted it to originally go. Shanghai. Well, what is a Shanghai? Well, a Shanghai is a triple, a single, and a double, all in the same term, in the same number. Triple, a single, and a double of the same number is a Shanghai on that number. So it really doesn't matter which number it is. Doesn't have to be on the 20s to be a Shanghai. A Shanghai is a single, a double, and a triple of the same number from the same 3 darts. Shanghai. Big fish. That is a big fish. So it's 170 points, and that's what you need to go out. You hit 2 treble 20s and a bullseye. That is called the big fish. I've never hit one when I actually needed one. Okay, so a marker. What is a marker? What are they talking about? Typically, most typically, almost exclusively, a marker is set to be for a double that you're trying to hit. So let's just say you're trying to hit double 1, right? And you shoot a dart and it hits like really close to the double 1, but it's on the outside. So that becomes a marker. And it's very handy because it gives us something to shoot at, something to aim at. And what you are trying to do is come right at that and hopefully come inside it. It'll deflect in or give you a target to shoot at. So that dart now becomes a marker. Even though it was a miss when you first tried, it becomes a very handy tool for when you're trying to hit that with your next 2 darts. Tim, you require 2. Oh, busted. Tim, you require 2. Oh, busted again. Tim, you require 2. Oh, busted. Tim, you require 2. Game shot. Well, that, my friends, Tim, you require 2 is the madhouse. Because you can see what happens if you miss. Going to the 20, busted. Going to the 18, busted. Going to the single one, busted. The only way to win is hit it there. That's the only dart that'll count for you. So that is the madhouse. It can go on for quite some time if you're not proficient at hitting a double 1. And even if you are proficient at hitting the double 1, you still can have some off times where you're shooting maybe 12, 15 darts trying to get out on that double one. And that is called a match. Okay, sometimes you hear them say cork, right? Cork, what does that mean? Cork to see who goes first. Cork simply means throwing for the bullseye to see who goes first. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to hit the bullseye, right? Typically what it means is you either have to hit the bullseye or the 25 ring to have an opportunity to have that count as going first, right? So one player throws, he hits here, next player throws, he hits in the 25 ring, he's going first. In some cases, if both players hit outside the 25 ring of the bullseye, then they both shoot again. Now, if you're just playing with your buddies and, maybe it's going to take you forever to hit a 25 or a bullseye, then it can just be cork, closest to the bull, right? So closest dart goes first. And that would mean first guy shoots, boom, he's here. Second guy shoots, boom, he's there. He's obviously closer. This would be the person who goes first. So when you hear someone say cork, then that means they're shooting for the bull to see who goes first. Sometimes they'll say diddle for the middle, and it means basically the same thing, right? You're shooting for the bullseye. Whoever's closest is the one who starts the match. Game on. Sounds pretty simple, right? What does that mean? Well, you'll often see before a game starts, before a leg starts, you'll see the darters taking turns doing practice throws, right? So when the referee hollers game on, that means that the practice throws are over, and typically he'll mention who's going first. It would be Tim to throw first, game on. That means the game's officially started, and anything you do at that point forward, throwing the darts at the board, are going to count. So when the referee says so-and-so to throw first, game on, that's it. Game is started. And when you hear him say game shot, game is finished. Match shot means the match has been won by whoever it was that threw that match dart. All right, so I throw my first dart, and then I throw my second dart, and it Robin Hoods into the first dart. Well, the first dart is in the treble 20. Great, 60 points. So the second dart is Robin Hood into the first dart, so that is 0 points. That's right. This dart doesn't count. It never hit the board, and it has to hit the board. It has to be stuck into the board at some level of penetrating into the board for that dart to count. So the point has to be in the board for it to count. Now, let's just say we had 2 darts in there, and then the third dart comes in and it's sitting like this. Does that count? No, it doesn't, because the point is not in the board. Now let's say it was sitting like that, with the point in the board but still resting on the other dart. Does that count? Yes, it does. It counts as a single 5 where it is. So the point has to be into penetrating the board at some point, and it can be a referee call on whether it is actually penetrating the board. So typically, if it's on there and it's anywhere near in the board at all, then the referee is going to call it. If it's just sitting on top of it and not point isn't actually in the board, then there's no score for that particular dart. So I'm walking over to the board and I'm going to get my darts, and before I can get my darts, one of the darts that wasn't sitting in there very well decided to fall out. Makes it hard to do when you want it to do it, right? So it falls out before I go to grab the darts. So what happens? Because I already threw it, do I get those 60 points or what? No. Unfortunately, if you throw the darts and one hits the floor before you're actually able to grab it out of the board, then that dart doesn't count. So it could be in the treble 20. I mean, there's times when people have had 2 darts in the treble 20, they've thrown the 3rd one, knocked the darts, all 3 hit the floor, it's no score. So the darts have to be in the board, you have to retrieve them by hand, right, before the score can be counted, unless it's a game shot, right? If it's a game shot and it goes in, let's say to the double 2, and the referee calls it, at that point, it doesn't matter what happens. At that point, the game is over, or the leg is over. So what do they mean when they say he just had 2 troubleless trips to the Oki? Well, that simply means that on that particular turn, he didn't hit any trebles for those 3 darts that he threw. So if he had 2 troubleless trips, that means that he went 2 times to the Oki, do his throws, and didn't hit anything in the triple range. And particularly, what they're looking at is the numbers that you're actually shooting for, right? If you're shooting for a treble 20 and you hit a treble 1, they're not really saying that that is a trip that you had a treble on. Really, it's not. It's really only at the numbers that you're shooting at. So I hope some of you out there who are just getting started learned something today about the game of darts and how it's played and some of the terms. Now, there are many, many, many more terms out there. And, you know, the more you play, the more you learn. Who knows? You may even become really proficient at them. I'm not. I know some of them. I know a few. I know the ones that you need to know, but I don't know them all. And it's interesting. If you have some common ones out there that you think I've left out, let me know. Tell me in the comments. And I'll try to do another video and I'll bring those into it. Tim the Dart Man, hope you enjoyed this. Hope you learned something. Have a great day, guys.